right, this is going to be super exciting for me. I hope it is for you too, but for me, it's going to be awesome. Kensington, welcome to the Leaders Who Care series.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
We're even more excited than you
Oh,
are. So you've met Devin, my co-host, and just full disclosure, my son, who's also an actor, and as I said, I'm still waiting to get discovered. And so, um, best place to start would be if you can briefly introduce yourself, not
yeah.
about the acting or this or that, or what you do, but tell us about Kensington, where you're from originally, where you are now, your family, something you've never told anybody before, but you want to tell the world now. That'd be cool too. So go for it.
I love that. Well, my name is Kensington Tallman. I have lived all over the United States. I was raised in New York City. I wasn't born there, but I was raised in New York City for 5 years. And then 5 years ago, I moved to Los Angeles. And 3 months ago, I moved to San Diego. So we do a lot of moving in our family. So I've also been homeschooled since sixth grade, and that's been amazing. It's given me the freedom to just kind of go at my own pace and be able to be on set. I graduated early, and so I'm doing some college courses right now. I'm taking psych, which I really, really enjoy, and I love learning about the human mind and what's actually going on beneath the surface. So, uh, and see, and I have a wonderful dog named Bruce. He's a French bulldog, and he's very chaotic, but I love him.
All right, Bruce. Brothers and sisters?
Yes,
Any?
I do. I have a little brother. His name is Zealand. He's 12 years old. And then yeah, I live with my mom and my dad and my crazy Frenchie Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty. Hey, that's a good name for a movie, maybe. I like it. Well, so what were you like as a little kid? And I know Devin can relate to some of the stuff you're talking, which he'll get into. But now that you're a big kid, tell us a little what you like as a little kid. What was your favorite things to do and all that?
So when I was little, I was very, very type A and a perfectionist, which I still am, but over like it got to a point where it was so bad for me and I was just so anxious all the time and I'm like I'm 10, I don't and like 8, I don't need to be this anxious. And so I slowly, as I gotten older, I've slowly learned to let go of that perfectionism and just kind of enjoy life and be as it is, as tough as that can be sometimes, especially for me. But I was very outgoing. I loved, hang out with my friends. I played the violin for 3 years, which is something most people don't know about me. But I had terrible stage fright. Like I was very outgoing, like with, people, but I could never get on stage. Like I was so it scared me so much. And so my parents really tried to help me kind of push me outside my comfort zone a little bit. So, I would play in recitals for violin. I did the school's poetry festival, so I would get up in front of the entire school and recite this poem at like 6 years old. And I realized that I actually loved it and I loved performing. And I've always loved art from a young age. I was very into music and just painting and drawing and whatever form of art that may be. I've just always loved it. And so I slowly started getting into the acting industry. I just kind of fell into it. And I realized that this is something that I absolutely love. I love to create and I love to inspire people through my art. And so, yeah, I feel like and I also being surrounded by an artistic environment, living in New York City and growing up in that, I feel like definitely influenced that because New York is such a busy and creative place full of energy. So I think that influenced it as well.
Dev.
Nice, nice. I mean, I have so many questions like based on that, but like before I get into like the follow-up question, your parents sound pretty cool. First of all, like your names, Kensington and Zealand, like they sound like super hippies or something. Like,
Thank you. They're hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. My mom is from the Midwest, and where is my dad from? He's from California, but then he like grew up in Oregon. So they're from all over. They've all moved around a lot, and I feel really lucky and grateful that, my parents have been able to have us live in some of the most, iconic cities like New York City and like Los Angeles. I feel very grateful, and I feel like I've also learned a lot about myself because of that. I feel like I'm a better person, and I just thrive in that city environment. But yeah, me and my brother's names are very unique. Me and my friend last month thought it would be funny to go meet Santa. And so I said, "Hi Santa, my name's Kensington." And he goes, "That's an interesting name." I'm like, "Yes, thank you. It is. Thank you. I appreciate it."
As interesting as it is, at least it doesn't seem like it's like, it would be misspelled often. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
No, people call me Kingston all the time. They
Okay.
don't they
I
don't
can
like
see
read.
Kingston. Yeah, I can see that.
I don't understand that. I'm like, guys, just read.
That's more
It's
of a
like,
guy's name, though, I would assume.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, everyone calls me Kingston. And so now my whole family just calls me Kingston to annoy me at this point.
Nice. That's awesome. But yeah, like I guess real fast to were your parents creative? Because it sounds like you were very inspired by art, like just all forms, like you said, growing up and being in New York and then LA. I mean, I can kind of relate to moving around a lot too, because I'm from my Fort Lauderdale, right outside of Miami, if you don't know, and then LA, so another
Big.
big city. Not in terms of like acting in the industry like New York is, but being moving around and whatnot. I lived a couple years in the East Coast, so I know it's like to move around a lot, and there's pros and cons for sure. But I feel you on the pros of the different experience. But yeah, so you said your parents were creative as well, and that's kind of what led you down different art forms.
Yeah, so my mom grew up as an actress, but she stopped in her like 20s, and so she's actually a Pilates instructor. I love her. She's the best. So
It is pretty cool.
I feel like that, I think I get that creative drive from her. And my dad, everyone thinks my dad is, they're like, "Oh, is your dad an actor?" I'm like, "No, very far from it." Okay, I'm gonna mess this up. He's in finance. He's an asset manager.
Okay,
I don't know
Yeah.
what that
out
means.
of
And
my head, I know exactly
I
what that
feel
means.
Is this like one of the kindergarten questions where they ask the kid, "What does your dad do?"
but I love him, yeah. But there, I feel like my dad, I'm trying to think, I would say like as far as like physical art, like painting and drawing, he's very creative in that way. And I think my mom is more creative on the performance side of that, which I think I'm so lucky. I get both of those genes and I get both of those into
Yeah,
me.
because they really are. They do provide, even though they're both arts, they provide different kinds of outlets for sure.
Absolutely. And I think my dad's very analytical, and I think I have this like silly and goofy side to me and like this fun side, and then I do have like this analytical side to me as well. So yeah, it's really cool, and I feel very lucky to be surrounded by an amazing support system. They cheer me on and support me no matter what, which I'm very, very thankful for.
So they
That's
support
amazing.
you inside and out, is what you're saying.
Oh, I like that.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Very nice. So speaking of Inside Out 2, which has been recognized, I believe, as Disney's biggest animated film ever, correct?
Yeah, it's the highest grossing animated film of all time, which is still crazy. And I started this process when I was 13 years old, and so it's been a very, very long journey, and never in a million years would I've ever imagined myself here. And as I mentioned before, I moved around a lot. And so when I first moved to New York City, the week we moved was my sixth birthday. And so for my sixth birthday, I went and saw Inside Out. And I had to leave the theaters early because I was just uncontrollably like sobbing because Riley had just moved from Minnesota to San Francisco. And so I was feeling all of those emotions. And so I feel like that character has just been a part of me throughout my whole life. And then, now 10 years later to be here is crazy and
That
just
must have worked well in the audition.
yeah, yes, I was, and also like I at 13, you're going through a lot. You're going through adolescence, and it was also during the pandemic and lockdown, and that was such a tough time, and I was just going through a lot personally and like with my anxiety and my mental health. And so I feel like I was really able to draw on those experiences and those circumstances to help inform the character. And also, like that movie just helped me so much open up as a person and realize that I'm not alone in this because when you're going through, a tough time, it can feel very isolating and you can start to drive yourself crazy and think, you're the only one. But this movie really showed me that it's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have anxiety and it's okay to talk about those things.
Yeah, we do a lot of work in mental health, and often people are quickly just diagnosed as depressed, but they're not depressed. Maybe they're just sad at this
Yeah.
point. And you don't have to take pills and whatnot to get rid of all that and whatever. I do a lot of sports analogies, but people drive them crazy, but I do it all the time. And how do you relate and in fact balance your onset, offset experiences while you're on a project and then in real life, going to school, you were doing finals. How do you balance all that?
I really actually like what you said about the sports analogies. I'm not the biggest sports person. I try. I really try. I'm not very athletic. I like more single sports. Like I do aerial dance and I love to work out and run and things like that. But
Pilates,
um
right?
what?
Pilates.
Oh, Pilates, yes, Pilates, yoga, all of the things. Um, but I really like that analogy because I view acting and life in general as a sport, but especially acting. Like you have to work constantly and exercise your craft to be the best of the best. And it's kind of like the Olympics. Like you train really hard. And I think what a lot of people see, especially like with the Olympics, is it's like this one moment of glory, but like no one sees those 4 years before of
Right.
dedication, early morning wake ups, like in the gym. And I view acting the same way because I've gotten so many no's and I've auditioned for countless projects, which I'm sure you understand as well. It's a roller coaster business. And, I've done all sorts of acting classes and worked really, really hard. And so, um, I really relate it to that. And I think also just having a really good work-life balance is so important. Like taking care of your mental health should always be number one. So I always make sure that, I'm prioritizing my self-care and my mental health first. And then that way I can go out and give to other people and, give my all in what I do and, be able to socialize and hang out with my friends and my family. But if your mind and your heart like aren't connected first and aren't right, you can't do anything.
Well, before I pass it to Devin, Bruce Almighty he's good for mental health, right?
He is so good. There was this meme I saw on Instagram and it said it's actually really sweet and I love it. It says when I asked for an emotional support animal to help with my anxiety, but the universe gave me a dog with anxiety instead and got confused. But I think Bruce is a rescue, and so he's been in we're his fourth home, and we got him at 6 months. So 4 homes in 6 months is a lot for a puppy, and you don't see rescue Frenchies very much. But he's been able to open up so much, and not only has he helped me, I think we've been able to help him as well. And I think it's a really special bond between, humans and animals. And he's like my best friend. He's so sweet, and just he's a really, really good puppy. So good puppy.
We could relate to that, right, Dev?
Oh yeah, we're a dog family for sure.
Oh, I love that. I'm such an animal person and I always have been. And, I'm vegan as well. And so animals are something I'm very, very passionate about, especially rescue animals, because there's just so much bad stuff going on. And, anything we can do to help our animal friends.
Definitely want to talk about the veganism for sure. Yeah, because I guess I can dive into that because well, first my dad was like, "Hey, like I met this awesome person. Like I think you'd love to talk to
I
her."
actually said I met this awesome gal.
Yeah, awesome gal. And
I
you should do the
said two gals actually for mom.
yeah, your mom
Um,
too. You did mention her. And then I saw you're an actor, and I looked you up on Instagram. I saw you're an actor. I was like, cool. And then I saw that you're vegan too, and I was like, hey, double points. Let's go. Like you're promoting vegan makeup, which is amazing, which is in line with what you're doing, with your nonprofit, which, I think is amazing too, because my wife and I also just started a social nonprofit as
Oh my
well.
gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so like, yeah, just vegan. Yeah, I love you. You're so, even though like I can relate to you so much about growing up with that like perfectionism, and I feel like you really you balance yourself so amazingly, and like the way you articulate yourself, like you're way ahead of where I was at your age for sure, and the way you like parallel your like acting with real life experience and going through life itself. I mean, it's cathartic, obviously, right? It's therapeutic. So like, we have acting, other people have other um, art forms for mental health, and it's one of those things. One of the things that we need for mental health, for sure.
Absolutely.
if it wasn't acting, it would be something else, I'm sure. And you pick up the violin again or something. But yeah, I love how you just talk about how it parallels life because yeah, like even like you going through what you were going through the same time you had, you had that project come up. I mean, how amazing is it when like you get a, character who's like you can just relate to so easily, right? And parallels your life. And you learn it's almost like yeah, like it's almost like yourself you're growing it's a self growth like in life acting in your characters that you work on and the stories you're a part of they help you with that personal growth too. It's yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, you learn so much about yourself just by playing that character. And I think that's what makes good art, and I think that's what makes good movies is thinking about things and learning something. And that's why we feel like that's the whole point, and that's why I do what I do is to learn and to grow and to inspire and create. And yeah, it's so cathartic. And I feel like exactly like if it wasn't acting, it'd be something else, to put my energy and my time to and to be creative because that just helps so much. It gives you a drive and it helps you with your mental health. I mean, being creative is the best thing ever. And that is different for everybody.
So if it
Yeah.
wasn't for acting, Deb, we think she'd be in hockey?
Yeah, true. I saw that your character also was a hockey player, which I was like even another triple like, wow, okay, we have so many things in common. That's amazing. Did you have like any knowledge about hockey prior, or was it just like the first time you came across the sport?
It's really interesting. So my mom, growing up in the Midwest, she grew up playing hockey and she would go to the little pond next to her
I
house
didn't
and
know that.
yeah,
What
she
state
was a
are you from?
hockey player. She loved hockey and so I have like her old jersey and her old hockey puck.
What state
Um,
is she
so
from?
what?
What state is she from?
Illinois. She lived
Is she a Blackhawks fan?
yes.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness. So I kind of like was surrounded by that. So I knew hockey from my mom. And so I grew up, just like watching little hockey games and things like that. And I actually have been just skating for fun, with my dad since I've been 6 years old. And when I lived in New York City, we would go to Bryant Park every winter and because they would, have everything all set up. And so that's kind of like our little special thing. So I feel like I could use that and because skating's just always been a fun little hobby that I do. And so I got to use that for Riley and I watched a lot of skating videos and things like that. I think it's so impressive though. I'm not a hockey player, but I give hockey players so much respect because I can just skate forward. Like I can just barely do that. Like skating itself is so hard, but when you are playing a game and you're like running and trying to shoot the puck into the goal, like that's a whole other thing. So I give Riley and all the hockey players out there so much respect. And you play hockey, you played hockey too, right?
Indeed. Well, I think that you should have done all your voiceover recordings of her playing actually on the ice. That would have been fun.
Love that.
Real
I,
fun.
I don't know if I could. I would have to have some serious training.
Yeah, I used to play. I used to play. I did the whole, travel hockey, prep school hockey, junior hockey route. So whenever I was about 17, I took a little hiatus from acting, and then I moved to New England, and I lived in Maine and New Hampshire for a few
Wow.
years before returning back. Yeah.
Like it? Do you feel like it was like a nice, like needed break from the industry for a bit?
Yeah, it was an interesting time to take a break. I mean, a lot was changing. I mean, I'm gonna like date myself right now, but like I literally left the industry and like everything was like self tapes only, unless like I don't know, it was like a casting office in New York or something. And then I come back and like everything's self taped. So like that's when I like left and came back. But since then, yeah, it's just it's been a joy. I mean, I've loved every experience I had, but we're talking about you here, so let's shift the topic back.
I'm going to write a screenplay for something about a hockey relationship, and I got two co-stars right here.
All
Dang.
right, but they have to both be vegan. Though. They have to both be vegan. It's a must.
So, little switch here. You're currently an ambassador with for Girlwell, which I was really impressed and got to meet Kaylee Joy Cooper as well, which was and her mom. And it was so cool to have the opportunity to say, and what about your moms? And you answered it so good when we were at the gathering the other day in New York. But how did you connect? What does that role entail and mean to you?
Absolutely. So, I met Kaylee Joy through her younger brother Elijah Cooper, and so Elijah and I were on the same show for Nickelodeon called That Girl Lele, and he was telling me about his sister and what she does, and he was telling me about Girl Well, and I was like, "What's this?" And Girl Well is a nonprofit, and we serve under-sheltered teenage girls. We provide them with self-care kits that promote mental, physical, and emotional well-being. And so I went to one of her packing parties for these bags, and I was so blown away by her drive and her ambition and her heart to give back at such a young age. And I knew it was something that I wanted to be a part of in any way I could. And so I became the brand ambassador, and with that, I've hosted packing parties, and I do a lot of work on social media, but also behind the scenes as well. I'm hosting a packing party for 1,600 bags in honor of my 16th birthday, which is really fun. So we're in the process of getting donors and people to help us sponsor these bags because it takes a lot of people and a lot of love and resources to make just one Girl Well bag. We actually just got a shipment from EOS Evolution of Smooth, which was amazing, and just I was totally blown away. We have people like Bombas, Dove, Estee Lauder. We have just amazing partners. But working with Kaylee Joy has just been such a joy. I think she's so positive and uplifting, and she's just such a great role model and just such a great mentor as well. And she's given me so much advice, just personally and about life in general, and about college as well. But I just look up to her so much, and I'm so proud of the work that she's doing. She was on Forbes 30 under 30. She's at Spelman. Like she's killing the game.
Yeah, and kudos to both of you because it really ups the self-esteem and the value that a young girl or anybody that gets something like that they deserve it, that they can. And I think you talked about this a little bit when we were there. How some people would say, well, they don't need makeup now. That's not something they need, but they need it to feel great and they're worth something, right? Can you share about that?
Absolutely. And so I love what you said. When people look at things and like look at, the community that really needs things, they just go, okay, well, they need like essentials and they need whatever. But it's like, no, they deserve everything that you have. Everything that you have and you need to like be like survive on a daily basis, they deserve that as well. They deserve to feel loved, to feel good. And I think makeup, especially for me, is a way of self-care, and it makes me feel good and feel good in my own skin. It makes me feel powerful. And anything we can do to uplift these girls and make them feel special and loved in a time and maybe a hard time for them is what we're doing and what we're striving for. And I think something else that's really cool is we write handwritten letters of affirmation just as an extra reminder to let them know that they're loved and that they're worthy no matter where they are in their life or who they're surrounded by. And I think just, seeing something and knowing that someone took the time to write that, I think just means so much to them. And there's also, obviously practical things in there, like soap and things like that. But there's, makeup products and face masks and skincare stuff. And we have 3 months of free teletherapy through BetterHelp, which is also so amazing because therapy is so, so important, but a lot of times it's very inaccessible. And so we've been able to give them that healthy space to just talk about their feelings in a safe environment. And I think what Kaylee Joy is doing to make self-care equitable and accessible to all is just so, so inspiring. And yeah, I feel
Yeah,
really lucky.
I got to remember to introduce you both to Ensurama Karmu. She is 12 right now, and she was bullied as a kid, and she started doing research and found that we all have melanin in our body because she's darker and she got bullied. So we're all humans. I don't understand that. At 12, she started a skincare company. And what she said was why you reminded me. She said, I want every kid to feel empowered in their own skin.
Yes.
And
Um,
so I got to introduce you guys to her. She's an amazing young lady. So yeah.
yeah, it blows my mind the things that happen and bullying is so bad these days, and my little brother is has a hard time at school, and the kids these days are just they're so mean, and that's just so inspiring though to see someone, young like that rise up and do something about it, and say, hey, this doesn't make any sense at all. What can we do about it? And I think that's it's incredible, and I think also really inspiring about, the younger generations, like with the Gen Z and Gen Alpha generation, and I feel lucky to be part of that. I think we're very driven and we have like once we get an idea set in our minds, we do it and we go for it, which I think is really cool and really special,
Love that. Yeah, that's amazing. I want to go back real quick to veganism. I'm very curious about that. I love talking about it. It's one of my biggest passions.
They've even converted me.
Yeah, I even like I'm the vegan Jesus over here, just converting
Oh
people,
my gosh,
you know,
that's so cool.
non-shaming.
I love this. Gosh.
Yeah, but yeah, so like I'm just curious because I'm sure it ties into to Gerwell too with the products being vegan, especially makeup these days. It's like a whole nother horrible industry that you can go on about. But yeah, like so like share your journey to realizing and like gaining knowledge of the subject and then deciding to become vegan both in your diet and like lifestyle as well, and then working with PETA as well.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I love that you guys are part of the vegan community. Yes. Oh my goodness. Like being vegan has completely changed my life, and I'd never ever go back. I became vegan about 5 years ago, but I've been vegetarian my whole life. And my mom was a vegetarian since she was 10, and so I was just naturally surrounded by that environment, and I never wanted to eat meat or anything. And it was more of just like a choice that I made. I was like, I don't really like meat, and this is what I'm gonna do. But then as I got older, I realized that there was some really bad stuff going on. Like the ethical issues were just so horrific, and I volunteer at, or I did volunteer at an amazing organization called the Gentle Barn, and they rescue animals who have been abused, who or have been in the dairy. Like we rescue a lot of cows, and they've come from the dairy industry. And so when I went there for the first time, I was just so shocked at the cruelty that was going on, not only in the meat industry, but the dairy and the egg industry specifically. And that's what really drove me to become vegan, because a lot of people don't realize that, cows, they get GMO'd, so they're 3 times the size that they should be. And the cows at the Gentle Barn were so massive, and their bones can't take it. They get arthritis. It's a never-ending cycle. They get separated from their moms. They never see the daylight. They're hooked up to machines. It's so inhumane. They get abused. And then the egg industry is just as horrible. People say there's, cage-free eggs. It's not actually what's happening. They're just put together in a room. It's inhumane. It's disgusting. It's cruel. And so I was like, I can't in good faith eat something that is coming from this and coming from that background. And so that's why I made the conscious decision to become vegan. And I'm very passionate about the testing industry as well. So, not only is my diet completely vegan, but my lifestyle, like you said, is 100% vegan. So the clothes I wear, the makeup I use is all cruelty-free and vegan. And the testing industry is just as cruel. I mean, they take animals like our pets, like bunnies, cats, dogs, monkeys, birds, and they hook them up to machines, and they get separated again from their families, and they're in these laboratories, and it's just so gruesome. I remember I was doing a school project once, and it was like about a social issue topic, and you could pick, and so I chose animal testing, and I was going on PETA's website, and I saw photos of the testing labs and like what these animals had been through. And for about at least an hour, I was in tears, breaking down. Like I had to step away from it. It's so horrific.
Mm.
And so anything, we can do to try and boycott that and to try to say, hey, there's other alternatives. There's all these amazing cruelty-free brands and makeup lines and vegan leather that we can wear that, are just as fashionable, are just as good for you, and don't harm the environment or our animals is so important. And so I actually just did a campaign with PETA and PETA 2, which was so much fun. We got to do a photo shoot. So the whole campaign was like me sitting down and I had like veggie wings. So it was really it was a lot of fun. And I love PETA. The work that they're doing is amazing, and especially PETA 2 as well. They're able to connect with they're showing the younger generation as well how to become vegan and the steps that you can take. So yeah, that's kind of my long-winded spiel about
You
veganism.
know what? I didn't even tell you this, Deb, but I just had lunch with a gal that was wearing a looked like a leather full dress, and it was made by banana peel and other fruit peels.
That's
Um,
That's the
amazing.
thing, like in today's age, like the technology is unsurpassable. Like we can make anything out of anything more sustainable. I mean, I'm big into kickboxing, right? So we have a lot of leather gloves is a big thing. So I'm always like the outsider, like with different vegan, company, like different brands. So what I they're starting to do nowadays is use cactus to make leather. And it's
Cactus.
like, why are we not like, there's solutions out there. Same with plastic, right? Same with plastic. There's solutions out there. Freaking ban that. No, I don't know if I
yeah, you can.
I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't understand. If we can make it vegan and it's actually better for the planet and we're not using like bad
You're too
materials,
you're too logical.
too logical. Exactly. Yeah, there you
oh,
go.
it blows my mind. I don't understand it.
No,
So
it's crazy. And like back to what you were saying with like the whole vegetarian, vegan thing and dairy and eggs and everything. Yeah, people don't understand it's all connected.
Yes.
And yeah, and it's the one thing that we have control over. It's like, it's something that we can really do. But back to like the whole like cosmetic side of veganism, I really wanted to recommend a movie if you haven't seen it yet. One of my friends and previous directors worked with Spencer Susser.
Oh
He
yeah.
yeah, he wrote and directed this phenomenal stop motion short film called Save Ralph. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to check it out. You'll love it.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
Steve Ralph. It's the Humane Society uh I think worked with them on that. And yeah, like Ricky Gervais in it, Zac Efron's in it. Yeah, it's awesome. You'll love it. And it's like I mean, it's Ricky Gervais. It's like so like dark comedy like, and
love him.
yeah, it's a kind of satirical twist on like on a rabbit's daily life through, being a test rabbit.
I like Octopus Teacher, actually, was one of my favorite movies. If you ever
Yeah.
seen that.
Yeah.
That's you
My
fall in love.
nanny told me all about this. She was like, I watched this. You have to watch this. She gave me a book about She's like obsessed with them now because of it.
Yeah, they're buddies, they're buddies. So they say in LA we gotta leave them wanting more so you can do a sequel. So we gotta move on a little bit here, the thing, but I want to ask you really quick. Talked about it when we were at Brand Innovators, about social, I call them social profits. I don't even like the term nonprofits. I call them social profits. And what did you learn about using your platform as an actor to make positive change?
Absolutely. I feel like, you know, being an actress, I've been given a really, really special platform and I want to use that to inspire and uplift others. And so, anything I can do to just empower people because the world is already dark as it is. And, anything we can do to just make people joyful, make people laugh, make them empowered, like that is so, so important. And so that's why I'm very, very passionate about mental health and veganism and working with Girl Well is to make an impact and to make a difference and show people that it's possible. And I think, I think what I learned, especially at Brand Innovators, that I didn't really think about before is that, you know, you can still be successful, and you can still make money, and you can still market and brand yourself, right, with whatever you sell, but you can also have a cause behind it, and you can also do good in the world. And I believe that that should be the number one priority, because that's what life's about, you know, and that's why I do this, is to make people laugh, and to make people happy, and to give them joy, and to give them love. And that's why I'm an artist, you know. And so if I can just use my art for good, I think that's just so, so important. And I think you guys are doing that as well. And I think everyone should do it. I think everyone should be doing
Yeah, damn it. Everyone start doing it. Come on. So
it.
take it from there, Deb, with the last one.
Yeah, so last but not least, what are you most grateful for and what are you most hopeful for?
This is a good question. I would say personally, um, I'm very grateful for my family. I have an incredible, incredible support system. My mom and my dad and my little brother are just very, very supportive of me, and have sacrificed so much so that I can do what I love. So I'm very, very grateful for them. Um, and I would say I'm really hopeful. Something that like makes me hopeful, I would say, is just the future, the younger generation. You know, I'm part of Gen Z, and I've been surrounded by a lot of amazing Gen Z people, and you know, seeing what my friends are doing, and seeing what people like at innovators are doing. It's so inspiring to see young people lifting other young people up and making a difference in our world. And I think you know, we have a lot to look forward to in the future. I would say professionally, and kind of with professionally, and like with the nonprofits that I work for, I'm very grateful that I've been given a platform that I can use for good, and that I can empower people and make them joyful and make them laugh in dark times. You know, I believe that comedy and television and movies are the most powerful way to connect to people. They've brought me out of some really dark times and really helped me think and process through things. So I'm really grateful for that. And I think, you know, I think in the movie industry and professionally, there's a lot to look for. There's a lot in the future. Sorry, words. There's a lot to look forward to, excuse me, in the future. And I think we have a lot to be hopeful for. I think movies nowadays are kind of shifting. And I think what makes a really good movie is you go home and you're not only entertained, but you think about it and you go, "Oh, whoa. Let me take a step back for a second. This is a really good point. This has a really good message about life." And I think movies are doing a really, really good job of that. And I think we're going to see more and more about that, you know, in every movie, like Inside Out 2 and Wicked. And, you know, you go home and you think about things, and your mindset and your perspective changes, which I think is really important.
Super cool. Well, I'm grateful for both of you guys and our family and your family. I'm grateful for you being a leader who cares,
Thank you.
and you and your family, new friends, and hopefully we can all get together sometime and get to know each other even more. And I'm hopeful for exactly the same thing. So, what about you, Dev?
Yeah, let's go to San Diego.
Yeah.
So, thanks so much, Kensington, and we really appreciate you, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you so much.